Hi, and welcome to another episode of Home Bars Live. So this week, I got a little treat for you. I'm actually going to be interviewing someone that's known me probably longer than most people that I know, and as well as one of my favorite individuals that I haven't had a chance to see until we bumped into each other about a year ago at a mezcal fest. So without further ado, as you guys know, this is Home Bars Live. So every week we're taking you to home bars of people from all over the world. This time we're staying in the States. We're going to be going to New York and we're going to be going to LA. So without further ado, we're going to stay here on the West Coast and we're going to take a little trip to go pay a visit to my lady, Dee Ann. Dee Ann, how you doing, love?
Hello.
You there?
Can you see me?
Hey! How you
Hey.
doing, girl?
Hey. I'm good. How are you, babe? It's
I'm
nice
good.
to
I'm
see
good.
you.
I
Virtually,
realized
of course.
I realized I just threw you a curveball and I flipped the order on. Sorry about that, but we
It's
adapt as we
okay.
go.
I'm ready. I'm always on. I'm ready. Exactly. It's like if you haven't figured out at this point in quarantine how to get on your Zoom calls, get on your virtual Facebook lives, like you're doing it wrong, you know? So I heard my name and I was like, oh, we're going. So it's fine. It's good.
Yeah, it was just the stuff was coming out of my mouth and I got on a roll and I was like, oh, but now that we are here, so as you
Yeah.
know, first and foremost, thank you for coming on. Thanks for
Thanks.
making the time. I know you have a busy life and I appreciate you joining us today.
No worries.
But without further ado, how about you give us a tour of your home bar and show us where you get all of your drinks from, so to speak, when you're at home.
Where all the magic happens. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually was watching like some of your other home bar lives and stuff, and I was like, why am I on this home bar? Like these guys have like 700 bottles or like hundreds and hundreds of bottles of all kinds of stuff. And then I was like looking at my bar and I was like feeling like a little, chintzy. I was like, oh God, my bar kind of sucks. But no, actually, so this is my home bar, if you can see. It actually takes up like the entire portion of a wall, and it's all shelved out, right? So it's kind of like part of the house in general, right? So there's no place to really like have a table and make cocktails or like a standard bar setup. I usually just do that like at my kitchen table, which is here, or generally I'm like in the kitchen, which is just behind here. Making drinks in there. And oftentimes too, if I have guests over, which like, I mean, is that a thing anymore? I just pre-batch cocktails and then have them ready to go for guests. But I'll give you a little tour of my home bar. So um, I'll start from this side on the bottom, if you can keep it. This is basically like my wine section. And then the second shelf corresponds to all of the books that I used to study. So a lot of people don't know that I actually got my start in cocktails and sort of in the business by studying wine first. And so I became a certified sommelier. So
Word.
these books are pretty important to me. And then everything else, to keep it organized by category, sort of, but then it gets really kind of all over the place, only because the shelves have different spacing. So it's mostly about like what I can fit, where I can fit it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then a lot of the stuff that actually is in the bar is based on a lot of my travels. So a lot of stuff is kind of like specific to a place that I've traveled. And so we kind of have to bounce back and forth. So I promise it does make sense, but I have to kind of explain it out. So we'll jump over to this shelf, which is like, these are all the travel books that I've used to go to different places. So I've traveled to roughly about 52 countries so far. That I get have a meaning, of course. So for example, up here, this is a liqueur that I got in Portugal. So it's a ginja. It's made from cherries. Kind of neat. And then I have a liqueur down here that I picked up in Iceland. It's quite interesting. It's a birch liqueur. And then I also have, let's see, this guy here. This is a prickly pear liqueur that I picked up in Malta. So that's kind of interesting. This is a special edition Fernet that I got in Argentina a really long time ago. It's pretty awesome. And then, like you, I work for Brujo Mezcal, so I'm the brand ambassador for Brujo. So I have all my Brujos kind of scattered about in this section. And then I have like a Mexico shelf. So the shelf here is like my Mexican books, my Mezcal books, and then I have a special edition that was made for me with my name on it. That's kind of amazing. From Pier de Almas. And then, of course, I have my Vagos that I love. You see them. And there they have like my little Jicaras and my Alebrijes here. So obviously you can see like there's little, you know, themes kind of coinciding. I have some Coach, Mezcal, and then some of my favorite Amaros are back there. So I have Zucca and Campari. And then this kind of like continues on that same thing. So I have obviously the altar with the lighting. I know it's a little bit dark. Obviously Selena. And then I have some other like interesting little random. I don't know if you've ever tried this guy before. Somebody told me it's like gasoline. It's a mezcalito.
Huh.
And this is a very interesting pechuga that I picked up in Oaxaca. It's actually really delicious. And then going back up, some more collector stuff that I got. This tea set. Let's see if I turn a light on. This tea set here I picked up in Turkey.
What?
And this little guy here, that's, yeah, and this is, actually, these are all Turkish in here. And then this guy came from Peru, so that kind of hangs out. And then I have some Venezuelan rum up there, more books, cocktail books. And actually I saw a lot of people have this actually, the Havana Club from Cuba. These are my prized possessions. They're all like very special bottles. You know, it's like anything that goes on the shelf has to be something that I find to be quite interesting. Havana Club number 3. This is the Cuban one, which is amazing. And then of course the more Del Maguey Mezcal in there. And then I have stuff as I lived in the UK for a little bit. So this, for example, Cam and Sons. It's not called Cam and Sons anymore, but this is sort of like what you would use for a white Negroni. It's almost like a Campari-esque British aperitif. It's really awesome to mix cocktails with. And then I have some trinkets, things that also I've gotten, like a cava. This came from Fiji, so it's supposed to be like an interesting ritualistic thing that they do there. This is actually
that doo-doo?
Cork from a cork tree. It's cork from a cork tree that I got in Portugal, where they actually make corks. So that was very interesting to get too custom. These are vintage jiggers that I found in a flea market, and they're super cool. They need to be polished up a bit, but they're really interesting jiggers.
So now, Dee Ann,
and I've got some kind of sort of.
Ooh. So now do me a favor now, because I got some questions to ask you. So why don't you now take a seat, because I got some things to ask you, because you said something that I'm a little confused by. You said that you've seen some of the shows and you've seen some of the other home bars, and you kind of maybe threw some shade on your own home bar. That home bar setup was awesome. I mean, from the trinkets that you've had, from the travels, from the way that, and one of the things about the show that I think is really cool is to see how people maximize their space. You know, you clearly don't have as much space as you want, but you've turned that entrance from like your kitchen into your living room into like a very inviting space that anyone that walks by that can, I think, get a glimpse of like your travels, who you are, some of your passions. So I think that it's really great. I think that that setup is
Yeah.
awesome, by the way.
Thank you so much. It's you know, I think what the coolest part about the home bar thing is because it is part of your identity, right? So like if
Yeah.
you don't, you know, have a bar, you know, that's actually out, that's built brick and mortar somewhere or whatever, but every single bar does have a sort of theme to kind of go into it and tells a story, right? So it's kind of similar in this respect too. The things that I have on here are much more important to me because they're what I have, you know, chosen for my space. And of course, like I have other bottles, you know, around the house and in the fridge and all that kind of stuff, but that's the stuff that, you know, like you can get anywhere. And then I'll show you the top shelf up here because this is actually like all the collector kind of stuff. So let me see if I can turn this around. So this is the top shelf up here is dedicated to like all actually collector and vintage. So there's some really cool stuff in here. For example, this Cordon Bleu Martel hasn't been opened. It's a vintage bottle. You can tell by the label.
Wow.
It's probably about 40 to 50. I found a stash in my father-in-law's basement of some really cool stuff. And so like you see, I have like some tiki mugs and some kind of cool like glassware. This I found in a flea market, which is like a really old school container for Homer Dew. Yeah, there's some really cool. Back there, that also came from the old school. Have some vintage shaker on these really gorgeous, beautiful shaker tins. These are old school. Found that in a market as well. Some just interesting glassware things that I picked up in flea markets that are definitely like one of a kind pieces. Like this is like a flask. It's beautiful and a gold embossed, and then like has somebody's initials in it, and it's just like such
That is
awesome
pretty. Yeah,
kind
that
piece.
is.
So that's
cool.
like sort of like the museum factor of like all of the cool stuff that goes up. This is a vintage bottle of Tanqueray, which I love. And actually, it was open when I found it in the basement. So
There's no telling.
so we actually make vintage. One is also about 50 years old or so. Some more collector's bottles. This Harvey Bristol's cream was vintage also, but we also delved into that guy. But yeah, like if I think most people who are sort of collectors, you find just these old bottles. This is the bonded whiskey that like doesn't even exist anymore. Gorgeous. Yeah. So this is all the fun toys up here. This is also a vintage bottle of Jim Beam. Back here, hasn't been opened. Absolutely gorgeous. Look at the label. This one is about 60 years old.
What?
Hasn't been opened. Yeah, so you know, and this is a really, really cool piece too. It's like a mixing.
Yeah, and like
tin.
the whole spoon set. Yeah, I actually have, my
Yeah,
grandmother
and it
actually
has
has
like,
one of those.
they're so beautiful. I found this in Montreal. It was such a cool piece. And that seltzer bottle there is all stainless steel. It will literally kill somebody if you knock someone on the head with it. It's so heavy. But yeah, so that's my home bar setup. So you can see there.
Well, I gotta tell you, I mean, you have hands down one of the best setups that we've had on the show. And again, it's not about size. I mean, the some of the vintage bottles that you have, some of those vintage pieces that you have, like you have a lot of like one of a kind pieces that, you know, that are collector's items. And I mean, it's really cool to kind of see how you've really taken that space and you've turned it into like not only a museum, but also like a history kind of yourself, and also too kind of like a journey of like your current path now. So I mean, it's an amazing setup.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask
Well,
you.
if we ever get back out of this and you come down here, you'll know where to come and get all the good stuff.
Well, it'd be nice to actually we can actually do a Home Bars live from the Home Bar, which would
Right?
be kind of cool. But what I
That
did
would
want
be
to ask you is, so, just to kind of let people know who you are. So where are you from? And are you currently residing in your home state? And do you think that you'll stay where you are now?
That's a really good question. I'm originally from Ohio. I'm a third generation Mexican American. My grandparents are from Mexico, and I was born and raised there. My father came from Texas, and my mother was born in Ohio as well. So, me finally kind of being where I am in my career, working for a mezcal brand that I absolutely love. Is kind of come full circle for me. It really connects me to like my heritage, and of course, like the sort of climate that we live in today is just a different, scheme of
Yeah.
things. So it's really special, like that I've found myself here. So I live in Los Angeles now. I've lived in Los Angeles for a number of years. I moved here from Ohio with the intention of just living in LA for the rest of my life. I met my wife here. We got married and we decided to travel for a little bit. So that's why we moved to the UK. I worked in a number of bars and restaurants there for a couple of years. And then on the way back, we had decided that we had always wanted to live in New York as well. So we were like, well, it's on the way back, so maybe we'll make a pit stop. So we lived in New York for a couple of years as well. And I had the fortune of like working in some tremendous bars there. And yeah, so like I've gotten a little bit of a well-rounded experience of being able to work in some really cool locations. And that has been a real big benefit for me in my career, because it's allowed me to look at things from different ways of how, different countries and different cities kind of in different markets do their thing. And so that's really been, and it's been an amazing way to like meet so many different bartenders and people in their own fields, and just see like what is really out there available for bartenders. These days it's phenomenal. And so that's been my sort of path, and I've only been back in LA for about 4 years now. So LA is home to me, and I love LA so much. It's sort of like, I always call it like mini Mexico, honestly, because the culture here is just so connected to Mexican culture, Mexican heritage. So it just feels like home for me. If I had the option to go somewhere else, I would go. I encourage like any person who's in the hospitality industry to do it, because it's like such a value, and it's also such a great opportunity to just like get out and do something different. And you know what I mean? Like time is short. Like, everything that we've learned in this whole COVID experience as well is like hypersensitive on like what actually matters. And so if you have the chance to go travel, absolutely, try it. Of course, a lot of these brands, host competitions and stuff and help people to travel and go experience all of that. And that's been really important for me in my career, is like to actually go to the places where they make things and see what's local to them and what's local to, the people that live there, and what their kind of drinking culture is, because drinking is a culture. It's, we all have these sort of like things that are ritualistic, and holidays and what they mean to us, and so that's kind of like ties into my home bar, like all these experiences and things that are old and new, and it's just a cool thing. So
that's awesome.
I would definitely go anywhere, but probably like I would love to go back to the UK if I could. I really enjoyed my time there, and have some really great friends that live back there, and also probably Asia. I would like to go to maybe one of the Asian countries that are really kind of doing some cool stuff over there. I would definitely consider that.
Heard. So, I wanted to touch on, because you talked about you being a third generation and like your heritage and stuff like that. What are some of the challenges you faced coming up in the industry? And then the second part of that would be, what's some advice you would have for that next generation, that whether they're either in the industry or they're thinking about getting in the industry? What are some words of advice you would have for them?
I think, the place that we are now is a lot different than what it used to be like. I think that for a really long time, there was sort of this is how we do things because this is how we do things. And I think we're learning very quickly, like, that just doesn't really cut it anymore, and that there's a lot of room for new ways of doing things. And now with the internet and all being super hyper connected all the time, there's more information out there than ever before. So I think that sky's the limit for any person who really wants to like get into something. But of course, like the study aspect of it, there's a lot more educational resources out there than there ever were before. So I would recommend, like, reaching out on socials and asking, like, ask these groups, what you're looking for. And people are really receptive and open to helping everybody get the resources that they need. So a lot of, like, I think in individual markets and stuff, just as something as simple as reaching out to other bartenders and asking them, how they went about, like, if they want to do something that's, say, like clarification or canning cocktails or whatever the thing is, and they don't know it or they're not sure how to access it, it's just like, ask somebody and they'll point you in the right direction, or at least get you where you need to go. So I think, like, you don't have to have things don't work the way that they used to anymore, because then it used to be much more of like a hierarchy kind of place and time, where it was just like these people were the ones that were doing this, so you had to go and get into their graces or get into their spaces to learn these things. And now that just doesn't apply anymore. So I think people who are in the younger generation that want to kind of get into it,
Heard. Well, I have so here we have a set of wrap-up questions that we do at the end of each interview.
It's so much more.
Oh,
okay.
Uh-oh. Then we had a
Cut
little
out.
I think I did too. It was almost like that, the old kung fu flicks, to where like I could see your mouth moving, but I didn't hear anything, so I wasn't sure what was going on. Yeah. But so I did want to ask you, I here on Home Bars Live, we have a couple of wrap-up questions, but you might have seen it, but I'm gonna flip it up on you, and I wrote some new ones. So you're gonna be the first one to try these out. So the first question is, favorite band that you would want to see make another album, and if you had to lose one of your 5 senses, which one would it be?
Oh my God. Oh man. So let's see. Taste, smell, sight, hearing, right? What's the other one? Feeling, no?
You got touch, taste,
smell, sight, hearing, touch. Okay, so damn, that's wrong, man. That's wrong. I guess that's terrible. I couldn't lose my taste or smell for sure, or my touch. So it would have to be sight or hearing. God, I think that I might have to go with sight.
Sight.
Is that insane? Is that insane? Because I'm just thinking about like the things that I don't know. That's terrible.
No, it's not. Okay. And now, what favorite band would you want to see make another album? Now you can still hear them, but you can't see them. See?
Okay. See, exactly. This is important. I actually am gonna say Third Eye Blind, if that's like a old school like 90s band that used to like make really cool sort of emo-ish songs, and like
Oh yeah.
I've been having a lot of emo moments during this like crisis, so it's like I've been like going back to, you know, anything that's like grungy and like trying to just like existentially, you know, mourn like what all this craziness. So I think that it would be cool if they released an album again. I just wonder what that would look like. So
All right. Well, you have it here first. She would lose her sight so she could hear Third Eye Blind's reunion album coming out. That is Dee Ann, everybody. So Dee, thank you, love. I can't thank you enough for coming on. Your home bar was amazing. We're actually, don't go anywhere. We're gonna bring you right back in.
This was really fun.
Awesome. We're gonna bring you in at the end of Chris's interview. We're gonna have a little wrap-up session to where you can like do the Mr. Rogers or Jerry Springer thing and send like a message out to the people. But I'm gonna say goodbye to you for now, and we're gonna be moving on all the way across the coast on the East Coast. And we're gonna be bringing in my man Chris. Hey, Chris, man, how you doing, dog? Chris, we are calling you. There he is.
What's up, man?
What's up? Good looking. How you doing, man?
I'm trying to do the hair of the dog. I've been drinking a lot last night, so.
No judgment here. So first and foremost, my man, I want to say thank you for coming on. This is actually kind of funny because out of all the guests that I've had over the last 3 months, you've actually known me the longest. We've been homies since high school.
High school, man.
And that's man, we're old, aren't we? Aren't we?
I mean, it depends. Are you like 2003 or 2002?
Two.
Two?
So yeah, I got you beat. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you're older.
Thanks for reminding me of that.
You look younger than me though, for sure. You look way younger than me.
Well, you know, black don't crack, baby. You know.
Asian
But anyway, enough of us catching up. As you know, this is Home Bars Live. And I have you on because, you know, I heard you might have a little bit of a home bar setup. So if you don't mind, give us a little tour, Daddy.
I will. First and foremost, it's New York, so it's very small. And just like what Dee said earlier, it's kind of like your identity. So all the booze are in my room, and it's a hot mess right now. Well, the reason for that is because, to tell you the truth, I'm not sure if I'm going to be bartending anymore. And I haven't really like said that to like a lot of people. So like I got a bunch of equipment, and then like I'm starting to do like a media company with, you know, Edgar Alcala from Dr. Teeth.
Yes, sir.
Or now it's called Teeth. So he moved here to New York also. So we started the whole thing. So we've been filming like some shows, but yeah, like I'll show you like some stuff. I'll get my camera thing.
So this is how it goes down on Home Bars Live, right? We do things to where we get dual screen action. You are now live two times with Chris. It's a double live.
2 times with Chris. There we go. How do I?
I'm gonna mute. There we go. Oh no, we just needed to mute the computer. Need your mobile. Can't hear you on the mobile. There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Cool. What do you call it? Where are we gonna start? Yeah, we'll start with the booze, I guess. How do I turn this around?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's your phone.
So most of my booze is like rum. So this is like my bedroom. I don't know why I still have that. My ex-girlfriend gave it to me. That's for party stuff. One of my favorite mezcals actually, El Silencio. They gave those bottles to me during the start of the pandemic because I was getting withdrawals. Okay, so I have the Agua Cachaça over here. Funny story about this. I did a competition in Philly in 2008 or 7. And then this is like batch number 1, number 337. Now they only made 600 bottles of these.
Wow.
I use this liquor for my cocktail. It's called Cute Without the Martini, which is pretty great. I met my mentor there actually. It's kind of great because he was telling me like, hey, you guys live in New York, right? I'm actually moving there the next day or tomorrow, and then I start my new job at Jeepney, which I ended up becoming the latest beverage director for. And I'm like,
Awesome,
okay,
man.
like this is pretty cool. This bottle was given to me by Lisa Seabury from the New York Hot Sauce Expo, because I did a competition with them too. So Brugal 1888. I placed second in the nation last year, which is pretty cool. And hopefully this whole COVID thing's over so I can compete again.
Get that top spot.
Yeah, get that top spot. Unemployment's running out, you know? Just kidding. I got the Coleman Select Barrel. A lot of these bottles actually are from like gifts from like the competitions I've done. This one's a personal gift from Eamon Rocky. We collaborated on a cocktail together over at Jeepney before for the to-go cocktails. Same thing with Marla Gamora from Santa Teresa, which I do have a bottle. Yeah, like over there. The Nativo, 15 years old and 20 years old, I haven't really tried. Those were like gifts as well. There's like a cigar box underneath. I haven't smoked the cigars at all. I don't really do cigars, but it's cool. One of my favorite rums actually is the Real McCoy. One of the pure rums out there, 12-year, 5-year, and 3-year. But my absolute favorite ones, the ones that I really do have, is probably the Rum Bar Overproof. Do a shout out to Sergio, London Rum Runner. He just went back to the UK. He got married here with one of my mentors, Chalky Tom, actually. And then Rumfire, my old mentor, Brian Maxwell, was the former Rumfire rep in New Orleans. Same thing. No, I mean, not the same thing with Hamden, but Hamden's actually one of my favorite rums.
Yeah, that's a really good overproof as well, too.
Yeah, like, I tell people not to, like, touch it. So I've actually have more bottles than these, except, like, I don't know. Like,
I think, is that hold on, is that some Tequila Ocho I see you got in the back there?
Yeah, Edgar actually gave this to me for Christmas, so this one's empty. Like, we just drank the crap out of it.
So that's, what other ones? Because that's a 2015. I think you got 2 more back there. What other vintages do you have back there?
No, I don't. That's my only Tequila Ocho. The rest is Tanteo.
Uh,
The rest is Tanteo and like an empty bottle of no, it's not quite empty. The Jose Cuervo Tradicional, which honestly I probably won't buy again.
Word.
Yeah, and I have some first edition, first batches of like 10-1 rum. They were trying to collaborate with Jeepney with some stuff. I believe they did collaborate with my boss, Chef Miguel Trinidad, because Chef Miguel Trinidad, he has a show on like Vice, Bong Appetit, and then he does the cannabis dinners and everything. So like that was like pretty cool. Little flask bottles and like little samples too from like all over the Caribbean and all that. I mean, that's like pretty much it for my collection. Nothing too exciting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have that Luxardo and like Singleton 12-year.
Yeah.
But I have some like paraphernalia. Like I think you'll like appreciate some. You should definitely go to BCB.
Well, hold on, man. Be careful with the paraphernalia you're showing on camera, dog. I'm just, cannabis dinners and stuff.
It's not like that at all.
I'm messing with you.
It's not like that at all.
I'm playing.
I have some gifts from these are actually from Jeff Berry himself.
Wow.
I helped him out at Rumfest here in New York, and then my equipment got stolen, so he sent me all of his like wine from Cocktail Kingdom, and he gave me the real Beach Bum Berry like tiki mug, which is pretty cool. I think you'll see something that's very familiar, dude. You ready for it?
Oh yeah.
A tap handle and a can.
Dude, yeah, man. So We're going to get into that when you sit down, but that is very fond memories of my days working at Novella. Very, very fun. Actually, you know what? I have one of those. I was given one of the taps. I have one of the taps at my house, as a matter of fact.
Oh, they gave you one?
Yep, I got one.
I mean, that's pretty much, never mind. I have the books too. So I have signed copies of some books, like Potions of the Caribbean. My mentor gave it to me as a gift. Jeff Berry autographed it. Same thing with Tiki. It's an amazing book. It's nominated right now by the Spirited Awards. My friend Shannon Mustafa wrote it. It's an amazing book.
Awesome.
And then Georgie Radev with his book, Let's Get Tropical. And then the book I Am a Filipino by Nicole Fonseca and Miguel Trinidad. It was a James Beard nominated cookbook of 2019.
Right.
And that's my restaurant's cookbook, which is pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, I mean,
I'm gonna transfer over to the computer now.
Sounds good, Daddy. Well, you know, I mean, and this is the cool thing I think about this episode is really getting a chance to kind of see how you guys have, a lot of like Dee Ann's stuff is really kind of her identity, and as well your home bar as well too, with how you have a lot of your stuff that you've done from competitions and things like that. But what I wanted to talk to you about was that tap you got up there. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and then we'll get into the whole holy craft thing.
So I was born in the Philippines. I came here in '89, but then every half year I would go back and forth here to the U.S. and Philippines. So I didn't really know until 5th grade what summer vacation was, and I was like really pissed off. I'm like, "Hey, yo, mom, what do you mean I don't got to go to school for 3 months?" Like, I thought it was just a continuous thing. That's because like my sister was born '94, and then we got a house in like Daly City. Ended up going to Daniel Webster and then Fernando Rivera, and then instead of Westmore, and like I ended up going to Pacifica, which is Oceana High School, which is where we met. Yeah, fun fact. Like we actually know each other from high school. Yeah. Yeah, I think you mentioned that though. And then and I got like after high school, like I just, I went to Academy of Art for a little bit. I got bored of it, so I did a bunch of things. I ended up working for a modeling company. I ended up like racing and all that stuff. So I had a little bit like a sponsorship like thing. And then I got into a car accident, and they found out that I was street racing, so they couldn't give me like my perks anymore. So I got like a drinking binge. So Sean Raffoa, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up going to bartending school not to learn how to bartend, but to find out what other drinks I can drink or order. So Sean passed me out of pity because I was always drunk at the school, and I missed out on an important day because I ended up watching a midnight showing of Transformers when it first came out. I remember that day too. And then, so he passed me, and then I came back. No, I went to Vegas. I won some money and bought a ton of booze, and then I ended up making like orgeat, and then I showed it to him. He's like, "Hey, like, how'd you make this?" And then he visited me at Sudachi, which is my first bartending job, like my first job in the service industry in general. And then he was looking at how I was bartending. He's like, "Hey, I never taught you that. Where'd you learn that?" I'm like, "I think it's more practical if you do it like this, even in this order or whatever." He's like, "Holy crap, like you should do this, like you should compete." So I started competing for Absolute, and then I didn't win that one. And then I just started like doing like a lot of things. I did stuff in LA and like other places. And it's funny because like most of my family members are in the medical industry. So like since I was 21, like my family kept telling me, is like, "Hey, you should go back to school, right? You should go back to school, you should go to nursing school, do this." But I just kind of kept at it. And then like I ended up working at the Bohemian Club and all that stuff. And then I ended up moving to Philly for my girlfriend in 2015 in February. Well, we broke up in September or August, and then I moved here in 2015 here in New York, and I started doing some more competitions, and then I finally got a hold of like a bar program, and then some articles like start popping up, and some people writing about the cocktails too, and then I showed my family, and they're like, "Holy crap!" Like now they're like into it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's that progression, I think, of people getting a chance to kind of see. Because I think, I think that's something we face in this industry is that, most of the time our family, they think that, it's a dead-end job or there's no future in it, and they want to see you do something else.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, this industry like deserves a little bit more respect, whether even if you're a server or even like a food runner or a bar back. Like,
yeah,
like this, like the service industry deserves like so much more respect. Like, for example, like, if someone were to come here or even get a job, it's like a lot of people are saying, hey, you should probably, like, they should make it a requirement for you to have like at least a year or two in the service industry, like, as experience. And the thing is, like, most of the people that I know that are like super cool are in the service industry,
We're I think most of the people in the service industry are pretty cool individuals. But we were talking earlier, and I wanted you to kind of like touch on your journey into starting Holy Craft Brewing and kind of how that got started, and how, it doesn't take anything. Maybe sometimes it just takes a joke, or it just takes a little bit of initiative, and you can have something.
So you're familiar with that company. Yeah, it was in Novella. We did a party there, and then that's where you showed up, and I was like, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, I'm here like Holy Craft and Novella and all that. I'm like, wait, you're in the service industry too? That was really funny. I think that was the first time I've seen you since high school.
Yeah, it had been a while.
Yeah, and so the way that started is, I was doing my cocktail things at home. I would make syrups and like whatever, and I kind of thought to myself, like, I was drinking a lot of IPAs and craft beer, and then I ended up meeting Dan Gordon at the Bohemian Club. He was a member there. So Bohemian Club is like a private club, a lot of Republicans, I guess, and it goes back to the 1800s, like, where it existed. And so Dan Gordon was there, and I asked him, hey, Mr. Gordon, should I make my own beer? The reason why I asked him that is he owns Gordon Beer. For the people on the West Coast, like, you guys know what that is. He also claims that he invented the garlic fries, which is a big deal. I like garlic fries. So he told me, like, hey, you should make your own beer, like, try it out, home brewing. So I found some brewing shops in San Francisco, and my friends and I ended up brewing in the backyard. After a few months, we're like really like honing our brewing skills. We were brewing like a batch like every week, so we have like a ton of equipment. We even have our own kegs. Like, we bought
You guys are really doing it.
Yeah, we bought a new freezer, which we found for $27 on Craigslist, and it works like amazing. That was a steal. And then one day I was like, hey guys, like, we should make our own brewing company because we're pretty good. And then like I got drunk one day, and then we ended up just signing papers, and we found out it was an LLC. Our friend Phil like had us like sign it. It was pretty funny. So the people who ultimately started it was Roger Kwok, Kevin DeFontorum, myself, Philip Fabian, and Steve Cito. And Kevin and Roger, like, Kevin, he wants to be a vet, so that he's still pursuing that. That's what he went to school for. Roger, he wants to be a doctor, so that's what he went to school for. With me, I stuck with the company for a little bit, and then I had to move to like Philadelphia, and I did not want to be in a brewery stuck there. I wanted to be in front of people and, you know, make my drink from scratch. So, and I actually enjoyed making beer like at home, and, you know, not as a business, but just kind of giving it away. He's like, hey guys, here's my creation. Like,
Yeah.
you know, drink this on a very hot day outside, share with your family. You know, it's nice. It's almost the same feeling as you have when someone really likes your drink at a bar.
Yeah.
Where beer, it's a little bit different. You know what I mean? There's less contact with people.
Right.
And I love that interaction. That's why I'm bartending, or was bartending before COVID. Shame on me.
So not to cut you off, but you mentioned COVID, and I wanted to ask you, have you picked up any new hobbies since COVID has picked up? And if so, what are they?
I think my drinking stayed the same. I think my drinking stayed the same. I have been making a lot more syrups than I usually would when I was at work, because I was at work like full time.
Yeah.
I couldn't, you know, pay attention to a lot of things except like at night, which probably like should not happen. I stopped dating this really cool person. Damn. You know her, actually. Holy crap.
See, this is Home Bars Live, everyone, where the pandemic hits and you get asked a question and then you just have an emotional breakdown right here live on camera.
An emotional breakdown.
I want to see you cry. Show me some tears.
No, you actually know her. Like, I finally talked to her like a couple weeks ago. She almost made me cry. She's mean. I'm scared of her. It's I also didn't get to show you guys like my treasure chest, and I have a Spinzall for some reason. So I've been using my Spinzall. For those of you guys who don't know what Spinzall is, it's a culinary centrifuge. So it's used to clarify a lot of things. So I have that at home. I don't know why I would have that at home. It should be at my bar. I do have I don't think I showed you this, Mo, but I also have a treasure chest that's like this big, and it's a large format vessel for tiki cocktails.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually did that. I actually did that for the Tiki Throwdown in 2019 for New York Cocktail Expo.
Okay.
The drink looks like the sea with an island with a working volcano with sharks and a citrus pirate ship. Like, it's crazy.
That sounds pretty insane, actually.
Yeah.
But what I did want to ask you is, so this is a portion of the show to where I ask you two questions at random that you do not have any practice and you have not been prepped for.
Got it.
And then you have to answer them. And then what's going to happen is we'll bring Dee Ann back in, and then I'll throw some more random things at you guys, and we'll love America and say goodbye. But without further ado, I'm going to ask these questions. So if you could fight 100 2.5-foot mows or 3 full-size mows, what you taking?
Wait, if I have to fight, like
half-size me's or full-size me's. You got 8 half-size me's or 3 full-size me's. Which one you taking?
Oh man, dude, you're pretty big too. I'll take 3 full size of you, man. I'll take 3 full size of you. At least I can, like, no one can like freaking swarm on me. I could at least, like, I don't know.
I just had the image of like 10 really tiny me's jumping on somebody, and it's just tickling me so much. I just, oh, come on, I'll grab you.
Oh my God, man.
And then, but I am going to ask you this one. If you had to lose the use of one of your 5 senses, which one would it be?
Hearing, no question.
Hearing, huh? Why?
Dude, like, I love movies. I could always use subtitles. with feeling, it's like you kind of need that. You know what I mean? With feeling, with taste, you need that. With taste, you need that, and smell too. But with hearing, it's like you don't really kind of need it. Like I could learn sign language. I don't want to hear my family nagging me about like going back to like nursing school or something. Like it's cool. I will miss music though. I will miss music. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that.
But I think we found the real reason as to why you don't want hearing is so people don't nag you anymore.
Dude, you know, I know everyone's like when I go to like a bar, I never go to a cocktail bar, surprisingly. Like I never go to a cocktail bar, right? But the amount of conversations I would kind of hear, because I always sit in the corner so people would like leave me alone.
Yeah, it's rough.
The amount of weird crap that I would hear, I'm just like, I wish my headphones never broke. Like,
yeah, it's definitely one of those things that I think that being in the industry, we've all heard
music, you know?
Yeah, we've all heard some really weird conversations. But what I want to do now is we're gonna bring Dee Ann back in, and we're all gonna like combine our forces like Captain Planet, and we'll have a little group powwow. So where you at, Dee? Where you at, girl? We got this. There she is. There she is. So first and foremost, guys, I want to say thank you for coming on. This has been a really, really great show.
Thank you.
Both of you guys have showed, I think, a really cool element of Home Bars Live, and both of your home bars have a lot of your personality in them, and that's what it's about. It's about maximizing the space you have and taking that and making it your own. But I've talked a lot, so Chris, I'm going to start off with you. Is there anything else you want to say to the people on the way out? Anything you want to plug or anything like that?
Yeah, y'all need to chill and wear your face mask for real, man. Like, dude, I ended up picking another career and leaving the service industry because of that, man. Because like my face is like it's not open, or like I quit. So now I have to start over, and people don't know how to chill. My roommate's thinking about like going to a barbecue. She's only been here for 5 days, right, Sandy? She's not answering.
She's like, you called her out.
I love you, Sandy.
So, Dee, do you have any final words for the people out there?
I'm going to second that notion and say to everybody, make sure that you're wearing your mask. And also, if you are going back in your prospective markets out to restaurants, please, please, please be as empathetic as possible right now, because people are really going through it, and it's not easy, and it's really tough place that we're in. Everybody in the hospitality, I think, understands, you know, the sensitivity of it. But yeah, we want just anybody who is, you know, trying to help bars and restaurants thrive right now, just to be very, very sensitive to what's happening. So wear your masks, be kind, tip well, drink more mezcal, you know, like that's the takeaway.
Heard. And, you know, this is coming from two people that one wanted to lose their hearing and the other wanted to lose sight. So I think they are not looking forward to dealing with people at all, but that's just me. So anyway.
I mean, it's a little scary place out there right now, you know?
Very true, very
that's
true.
why I don't want to see anymore. I'm tired of seeing all this crazy stuff going on out there. It's like,
very
we don't need to get it together. We need to come together on this.
So this has been another episode of Home Bars Live. I'm your host, Smo Brooks, residing out of the beautiful San Francisco, California. We've taken you to LA and we've taken you to New York today. Tune in next week. Next week, we're going to be taking you a little bit overseas. We're going to get a little international flavor, and we're also going to be hanging out in Seattle. So same time, same channel. Tune in next week. We will be right here on Home Bars Live with me, two new guests, and we'll see if someone wants to lose touch next week, or maybe they, you know, maybe they want to also lose hearing. Who knows? But the only way to find out is to tune in right here. You can also find us on YouTube as well as Spotify and anywhere you can find podcasts. So Home Bars Live, we are everywhere. Share it, like it, love it. We'll see you guys next week. Bye, y'all.
Bye, guys. Thank you.